Good morning students, welcome to our 23rd lecture of Econ 353. So, in last lecture we have seen about the trade, what is international trade, then difference between inter-regional trade and international trade, some features of international trade, and also we have seen what is free trade and what is protectionism. Okay. So, today's our topic is different international trade theories. In that we have to see the two theories. So, first theory is absolute advantage theory, which was given by father of economics, that is Adam Smith, and second one is the theory of comparative advantage, which was given by David Ricardo. Okay. So, first one is absolute advantage theory. So, in economics, the principle of absolute advantage refers to the ability of a party means an individual or a firm or a country to produce the greater quantity of good or services than the other competitor, that is a absolute advantage. Okay. So, Adam Smith first described the principle of absolute advantage in the context of or in related to the international trade by using labor as the only input. So, since absolute advantage is determined by the simple comparison of labor's productiveness, so it is possible for party to have no absolute advantage in other anythings. Okay. The concept of absolute advantage is generally attributed to Adam Smith for his 1976 publication The Wealth of Nation. As we know, the book wrote by Adam Smith is The Wealth of Nation in the year 1776, okay, in which he countered mercantilist ideas. He has included mercantilist ideas. Okay. So, Smith argued that it was impossible for all the nations to become rich simultaneously by following mercantilism, because the export of one nation is another nation's import. Obviously, in last lecture we have seen what is import and what is export. Okay. And instead stated that all nations would gain simultaneously if they practiced free trade and specialized in accordance with their absolute advantage. As we know, one nation's export is another nation's import. So, Smith also stated that the wealth of nation depends upon the goods and services available to their citizens rather than their gold reserves. Okay. Because Smith only focused on the comparing labor productivities to determine absolute advantage, he did not develop the concept of comparative advantage. Just keep in mind, the theory of absolute advantage was given by Adam Smith in his publication The Wealth of Nation. So, while there are possible gains from the trade with absolute advantage, the gains may not be mutually beneficial. Means that business or that trade will not be beneficial to both countries, it will be beneficial to one country also. Comparative advantage focuses on the range of possibility mutually beneficial exchanges. So, this is the difference between absolute advantage and comparative advantage theory. In absolute advantage, it is not necessary the gains or the benefits will be enjoyed by the both parties, but in comparative advantage, it is considered as the benefits must be enjoyed by both parties. Okay. According to Adam Smith, if one country has an absolute advantage over another in one line of production and the other country has an absolute advantage over the first country in another line of production, then both countries would gain by trading. Okay. So, we will explain it by the example. So, in example we will see the units of labor to produce one unit of good X and good Y and country A and country B. Suppose if it takes 10 units of labor to produce 1 unit of good X in a country A, but 20 units of labor to produce the same good in a country B, and if 20 units of labor to produce 1 unit of a good in a Y, unit of a good Y in a country B, and 10 units of labor to produce the same good in a country A, then both the countries will gain by the trading. So this is example of the absolute advantage. So after opening of trade, country A will specialize the production of good X because it requires minimum labor, and country B will specialize in the production of Y because it also requires the minimum labor as compared to good A. Okay. So this is about the absolute advantage theory. So as we know, for explaining every theory or for implementing every theory, we need to suppose some things, that is the assumptions. In our second semester course, we have also seen about the different assumptions of the law of diminishing marginal utility, law of equimarginal utility. So similarly, here are also some assumptions of the absolute advantage theory. So in that assumptions, the idea of absolute advantage is based on number of assumptions. There are few assumptions. So according to Adam Smith, the theory of absolute advantage is not always entirely accurate. According to him also, the theory of absolute advantage is not accurate because many of these fundamental assumptions are in the fact not true in a practice. Means these assumptions are not possible in a practically. Here are the some most significant assumptions. So first assumption of absolute advantage theory is lack of mobility of factors of production. Mobility means movement. So Adam Smith assumes that factors of production cannot move between countries, but it is possible. The factors of production can be moved between countries. It also implies that the production possibility frontier of each country will not change after the trade. So this is the first assumption. Second, trade barriers. Okay, there are no barriers to trade for the exchange of goods, but in reality or in practical there are so many trade barriers. Governments implement trade barriers to restrict or discourage the importation or exportation of particular good. So this is the second assumption. Third one, trade balance, which is practically impossible. Means the same quantity exported and same quantity imported, which will make the trade balance, but that is practically impossible. But it is a third assumption, that is Smith assumes that export must be equal to import. This assumption means that we cannot have a trade imbalances, trade deficits or surpluses. Okay, and last assumption is that constant returns to scale. So again Adam Smith assumes that we will get constant returns as a production scales, which is practically impossible. Okay, meaning there are no economies of scale. For example, if it takes 2 hours to make a 1 loaf of bread in a country A, 1 loaf means 1 packet of bread in a country A, then it should take 4 hours to produce 2 loaves of bread in that particular A country. However, if there were economies of scale, then it would become cheaper for countries to keep producing the same good as it is produced more for the same good. So these are the few assumptions of the absolute advantage theory. So this is all about absolute advantage theory given by Adam Smith in his book Wealth of Nation. So next is comparative advantage theory. So as we know, the theory of comparative advantage was given by Dewett Ricardo, okay, he published this theory of comparative advantage in 1817 in his highly influential book on the principles of political economy and taxation. Just keep in mind these both books, wrote by Adam Smith and book wrote by David Ricardo, in which they have given the both theories. So, comparative advantage is a situation in which country may produce goods at a lower opportunity cost than another country, but not necessarily have an absolute advantage in producing that good. Okay. More simply, this means comparative advantage means that a country can produce good at a lower cost than another country. If we compare, here we have to compare the goods of one country with another countries, that is a comparative advantage in respect of cost of that production of that good. So, David Ricardo demonstrated that if two countries of producing two commodities engage in the free market, then each country will increase its overall consumption by exporting the good for which it has a comparative advantage, means less cost, while importing the another good, provided that there is differences in labor productivity between both countries. So, widely regarded as one of the most powerful yet counterintuitive insight in the economy. So, it is regarded as the most important in the trade in the economy. So, comparative advantage is most important trade theory in the economy. So, David Ricardo's theory implies that comparative advantage rather than absolute advantage is responsible for much of international trade. Okay. So, the law of comparative advantage describes how under free trade an agent or a country will produce more of and consume less of good for which they have comparative advantage. So, then next is comparative advantage. What it describes? Comparative advantage describes the economic reality of work gains from a trade for individual firms, nations or country which arise from differences in their factors endowments or factor involvements or technical progress. So, one should not compare the monetary cost of production or even the resources of cost. So, one person or one country, one firm, they cannot compare because they are the single commodity or single person or single individual of production, but one must compare the opportunity cost of producing goods across the countries. So, now we will see the example of comparative advantage theory. As we have seen in absolute advantage theory, the example of units to produce a good X, good Y in a country A and a country B. Suppose we have two countries, that is country A and country B. These two countries can each produce two goods, that is good X and good Y. Suppose country A has an absolute advantage over a country B in a producing both goods, but since their production possibility curve does not meet their cost and different, and there is room for specialization. Okay? A country should specialize in a good Y, and a country should specialize in a good Y, and B country should specialize in a good X, Y, because A country, it require to produce 1 unit of good X, it cost good X of 0.71 units of good Y, while for B country 1 unit of X good cost 0.67 units of good Y. Consequently, it is cheaper for B country to produce the Y good. Okay, to produce the good Y than it's for A country to produce the Y good. Likewise, we can calculate A country has a comparative advantage in creating good Y. So, this is about the comparative advantage theory given by David Ricardo. Okay. So, we have to see the different factors which affect the comparative advantage. In that first one, factors of production. In absolute advantage, there is only one factor of production, that is labor. So, in a comparative advantage, factors of productions are major factors that affect the comparative advantage is the country's quality and quantity of factors of production. For example, natural resources like iron, gold, copper is not something a country can change. Okay. Then exchange rate, movement in exchange rates affects the prices of imported and exported good. It is obvious. For example, if your home currency depreciates, which means foreign currency can buy more of your home currency, then your exports will increase as your goods are cheaper relative to others. Okay. Then most important is that is economic factor, that is inflation. Okay. An increase in the rate of inflation would make export goods more expensive and imported goods more cheaper. This also factor affects the theory of comparative advantage. Then next is trade barriers. So, subsidies, there are different subsidies for international trade. Subsidies and taxes are examples of trade barriers that can be implemented by the government to create an artificial comparative advantage. A subsidy would make exports more competitive and a tariff would discourage imports. So, what is tariff, GATT, WTO, we will see in next lecture. So, as like assumptions of absolute advantage, there are some few assumptions for comparative advantage also. First assumption is constant returns to scale. The theory of comparative advantage assumes that the cost remains constant for producing any number of goods. I think it is not possible to keep a constant cost. This means that if you require 2 hours to make a one shirt, then you will spend 10 hours to make a 5 shirts and 20 hours to make 10 shirts, etc. In reality, cost will go down because economies of scale. Okay. Then next is mobility. There is a perfect mobility of factors of production. This means that we assume that we can move any factor of production to another part of the country at any time. In reality, we cannot move the factors of production that much easily. Then next assumption is that costs. There are no transportation cost, that is, it does not cost anything to move good from one place to another place, but in reality the transportation cost is the highest cost in a total marketing cost. This assumption is also not rooted in reality. Okay. Then free trade exists between the two countries. This means there are no barriers to trade. So, these all are the assumptions of comparative advantage. So, this is all about the absolute advantage theory and comparative advantage theory. Okay. So, for these theories or for this course also, you can refer the book Agriculture Marketing in India by S.S. Acharya and N.L. Agarwal, then Agricultural Economics by Subba Reddy, then Modern Economic Theory by K.K. Dewett and M.H. Navalur, and I have also referred some websites also, that is, I have collected some information from Wikipedia and from intelligenteconomist.com. Thank you.